Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's welcome one another as we do each week with our heart tap. Once again, we encourage you to go into gallery view, which should not be new to most of you, so that you can see the members of our community as we celebrate Shabbat. Of course, tonight is not only Shabbat, but it's a Yontif. It's the final day of Passover for many. In the Torah, Passover is described as a 7-day festival, which means that it would end tomorrow night. But in the diaspora, over a period, an 8th day was added so that some members of our community will be observing an 8th day of Passover, which means some people will be eating pizza and bagels tomorrow night. Some people may be eating pizza and bagels Sunday night, or fill in whatever chametz of your choice is your absolute favorite, but it's coming soon. Most importantly, over the candles, we'll say Yom Tov for the final day or the second to final day of Passover and Shabbat. I hope you've had a really good Passover week. Let us continue with a nigun, gathering together as one community, but this nigun has a little bit of a Passover taste as it recalls the redemption from Egypt, as we'll hear a little later in the service. And so, Rabbi Sapphire, can you lead us in the lighting of our Shabbat and Yom Tov candles?
Yes, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So Shabbat gives us the important opportunity to reflect on the week that has been so far. Sometimes that includes hearing difficult news. Sometimes that includes enduring the stresses of the week. But we also know that Shabbat is an opportunity to welcome an entire day of wholeness and shalom. So as we light our Shabbat and Yom Tov candles, we let go a little bit and welcome a new sense of peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
So let's return to gallery view as we welcome Shabbat in the presence of our community with the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Baruchuni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We often say about some people that you are a welcoming person. What does that mean? The Kabbalists, our sages, teach us that in order to greet someone with a beautiful countenance or welcoming face, we have to put a little bit of effort into it. In the same way, Shabbat does not just arrive or enter. Shabbat is to be welcomed. So let us be welcoming as we bring in Shabbat. Lecha Dodi.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ב'nei Shabbat, נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ב'nei Shabbat, נקבלה. יללי, יללי, I invite you to please rise in body or spirit as we greet the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala Shabbat nekavila. Pinei Shabbat, Pinei Shabbat.
So let us continue with these centering words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
So soon we're going to hear the word standing on the parted shores. The cantor is going to sing a part of our liturgy that reminds us of that moment when the Israelites were at the Red Sea, waiting for it to open, ultimately celebrating their freedom. What's interesting to note is that Moses did speak to the Israelites in the desert at that time, and he basically said he had a plan to lead them out of the desert, to no longer be slaves. And initially we read in the Torah, velo shamu, which means the people didn't listen to Moses. It's really surprising that they wouldn't listen. And I was thinking about this recently because someone said to me this week, it's hard for them to hear people. It's the mask, they can't read lips. There are great challenges to hearing. I think not only do the masks provide challenges for hearing for all of us, but just all of the noise and uncertainty in this world. How do you make a plan at a time of COVID when we don't know what tomorrow will bring? It's hard to hear what's in our hearts. Velo shamu in the Torah is actually, they didn't hear for a reason. And in the Torah, it's makotzer ruach, which is often translated as they didn't hear because they were distressed or anguished or worn out. It wasn't the mask, it was just that they were so distracted. But today I want to present us with the literal translation. It's not that they didn't hear because they had anxiety. It was they didn't hear because they actually had shortness of breath. That's the literal translation, meaning they were breathing lots of little breaths. And I provide this literal translation for those especially who are familiar with meditation, that sometimes we realize we can learn a lot about breath, that breath actually affects the way we live, how we listen, how we hear. That shortness of breath doesn't let us discern, but a slowing down of breath allows us actually to listen to our hearts, to our minds, to our souls, and ultimately be free. So I hope we use this time in our service to slow down our breath and to listen, because ultimately when we hear ourselves and each other, freedom can come.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Forever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt. There's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands. And marching together, singing ya ya da da, ya da ya da, ya ya da da ya da, oh ya ya da da, ya da da da, ya ya da da ya da. Moshe uMiriam uBnei Yisrael lecha anu shira besimcha rabba ve'amru chulam ya ya la la ya la ya la
And now continuing with let there be love and understanding among us.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leShalom, V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu leChayim, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leShalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We come from prayers of freedom to prayers of shelter. And now that we are safe and we have our breath, we're thinking about the ways in which we are free and the ways in which we are safe. At this moment, we join together for the beginning of our Amidah, where we go inward and we listen to the words of our hearts and thank God for allowing us to be able to make them known, to share them with our lips. Or as we do each week, as is our custom, you can put them in the chat box. Words of gratitude, words of thanks, words of hope, so that as a community we can bear witness to where we're at, where we've been this past week, and what we're looking forward to coming into Shabbat. And so we'll join together with these sacred words. Adonai Sevatai Tivtach. Adonai Sevatai Tivtach. Agid Tehilatecha Adonai Sevatai Tivtach tehillatech. Open up our lips that we may praise your name. Open up our hearts that we may feel our pain. Open up our souls and let our love make us whole. And we will praise your name, Adonai, Sefatai Tivtah, Rufi Agid, Tehillatech. Adonai, Sefatai Tivtah, Rufi Agid, Tehillatech. Please take a few moments for your own personal, private reflection. We join together in a prayer for peace. Prayer for peace for us, for Israel, and for the whole world, for those who need it most. Oh, say shalom, Nimroma, Uyase shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Me'imeru, Let us now shift our focus to words of healing. We join together in the words of Misha Berach, words of healing either for those in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. And as is our custom, if there is someone who you are thinking of now in need of this prayer, we invite you to put their names into our chat box so we can collectively see them and think of you as we join in these sacred words.
Avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Of course, on Shabbat, we also give thanks for the sacred moments in life, those God-given times we've experienced this past week. And so I want to begin with birthdays. Raise your hand if you celebrated a birthday this week. And I want to wish a happy birthday to Sandy Byrne, I'm told, celebrated a birthday this week. Anyone else? As I scan through our gallery view, happy birthday, everybody. How about anniversaries? I know that Andrew and Laura Klopfer are celebrating their 10th anniversary. And I always remember the number because they were the first wedding in our temple building. Some mazel tov to Andrew and Laura and everyone else celebrating an anniversary this week. How about the gift of new life? A new grandchild or a new, oh, I see a few hands, maybe a sister, a brother, a cousin, a member of your family. Mazel tov. How about you experience something new this week? Passover is spring, rebirth. Did anyone see something poke out of the ground for the first time? A flower bloom? I certainly did. I also want to welcome on celebrating first times our visitors to TBE this evening. We're glad you are with us. And I especially want to welcome, because a little bird told me that Mrs. Graham is here from the Meadowbrook School. So I've got to welcome you, especially along with all of our other visitors. For all of these things, we are deeply grateful, and our prayer is the Shehechianu, to express our gratitude.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So running in the darkened sky with a torch in hand, he ascends a mountaintop. With great joy, he lifts this warm light high above his head, singing and dancing, waving it from side to side. He's able to make this climb because the moon is full, the sky is clear, the light radiates down, illuminating along with his fire, the path before him. And in the distance, he sees another mountaintop, and ever faintly, another fire, another torch dotting the horizon. And in the distance after that, another, and then another. You see, in the time of the temple, and continuing in the times of the Mishnah and the Talmud, this is how our Jewish community identified the beginning of sacred time. Jerusalem sends out a signal, a new moon is here. Our holiday has arrived, and slowly, each community learns of this blessing when the bright moon and torch lit up the night sky. On this Shabbat, we find ourselves still amidst the Passover holiday, which we joyfully celebrate all week. Passover, of course, is a special holiday in our year cycle. We are exactly 6 months from Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Our spiritual highs, the elevated heights of connection to faith, to God, and to mitzvot, like the moon, wax and wane over the year. We've spent the last 6 months allowing our spiritual chametz to build up. And so we prepare for this holiday by cleaning out all the crumbs that litter our spiritual and sacred space. And we use a torch, or maybe a candle, and the light of a full moon to search to make sure that none of it remains. And much like the sacred work of the month of Elul before Rosh Hashanah, we clear the buildup, clear the muck, the sand, the grime that blurs our ability to see and engage with the sacred around us. We experience the Passover Seder in part to remind us through its rituals that we are on a year-long journey in relationship with our spiritual selves. And much like the ever-giving cargo ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal earlier this week, sometimes we get stuck. And we get stuck in Egypt, and we need help getting out. But on the Shabbat during Passover, we recite words from Song of Songs, which I imagine accompanied the announcement of the holiday in the following way.
Anadodi ve'amar li, kumi lach, rayati yafati ulchilach, ki hine hastav avar, hageshem halach lo. Hanitzanim nir'u va'aretz, et hazamir higia, v'kol hator nishma ba'artseinu. Hate'ena chanta fageha, v'hagfanim smadar natnu reach, kumilach, rayati yafati.
My beloved spoke and said unto me, rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. For lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land. The fig tree puts forth her green figs, and the vines and blossom give forth their fragrance. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. These words from Song of Songs are a striking reminder for the possibility of this moment in time and its significance for us as individuals, in community, and in our relationship with God. Song of Songs is a unique book in the Bible. It is a love poem between two individuals, sensual at times, describing their affection and love for each other. And it's somewhat surprising then that it was canonized in our Bible. But our tradition teaches us that it is an allegory for the love story between God and the people of Israel, a love story which began at this season. And so we read it on the holiday of Passover because it is at this time of year, this springtime of year, when flowers bloom, when possibility is in the air, when we begin to court God and God in turn begins to court us. And so how do we engage in this holy dance when we are stuck in a narrow place? Song. Song is a powerful tool in connecting us to our spiritual selves. King Solomon knew this when he penned this verse, singing out for connection with God. And the Israelites too, as we'll read in tomorrow's portion, Az Yashir Moshe, that Moses and Miriam sang out to God at the sea, seeking to share their joy in connection with others and celebrating their freedom with God. But in my mind, when the sea split, I imagine a deafening silence, that the waters stood still, almost at attention, and the people were silent, their breath taken away in wonder. And slowly, as people began to walk forward, a song came to them. First, it may have come from the animals in the sea or on the ground, for they too were in the presence of wonder. And then the song came to the Israelites as they sang out. And in the melody and in the music that is all around us, from the Passover melodies to the biblical song, to the poetry in our consciousness, to the music on the radio, how do we capture the melody that lifts our souls out of the spiritual narrowness? See, Passover is more than just a celebration of our collective freedom. Passover is about the possibility and potential of sacred relationship. And how do we make sure we don't miss it? Part of it is allowing ourselves not to miss the melody that others bring into the world through their actions and deeds and joy and blessing they share. Hearing the music for this holy dance with God comes about when we clear away the clutter that prevents us from being in touch with our truest selves. And we can experience music in many ways, both literal and figurative. When we are able to notice the flower bud before it blooms, we hear music. When we express gratitude to another, we create music. When we slow down enough to taste matzah as a metaphor of possibility, we share music. And when we become vulnerable and enter into the sea of unknown, we can truly start to dance. See, this is sacred work is not only for the high holy days. This sacred work is of this very moment. And with still more time in this holiday, we still have an opportunity to bring more song into this world, and we could certainly use more song. To dance a holy dance, to lift a torch on a mountaintop, letting others know that this is our sacred time, recognizing our inner clutter and mindfully clearing it, allows us to reconnect with the natural rhythms of renewal within our world and within ourselves. Because removing the chametz begins the process of living truly within sacred time. And I know that within a pandemic, our personal and collective chametz feels different, especially the second time around. And yet this is our time. We are within the Omer, the counting of days over the next 6 weeks towards the holiday of Shavuot, when on another mountaintop, Sinai, in the light of a new moon, the shofar will sound, blasting its call as if to say, have you done the work you need to? Have you shared your song with the world? Are you ready to receive Torah? But like the ever-given ship, no matter the work being done day and night, machinery digging and diving and removing, it was unstuck by the moon and the tide, by experiencing the power of sacred time. And so, if we have cleaned our chametz well, and we hold on to what this holiday has to offer, and we sing a song of songs, our pathway towards revelation is wide open. Shabbat Shalom.
I am my beloved is mine. Rise up, my fair one, and come away, for lo, the winter passes and the rain is gone. The voice of the turtle is heard in the land. The time of singing has come. For lo, the winter has passed, my love. The rain is over and gone. The vines in blossom their fragrance give forth. Oh, be my love and come away. Arise, my love, arise, my love, arise, my love, come away. Anile dodi, vidodi.
We continue with words of Mourners Kaddish, and we'd like to acknowledge the mourners in our midst by having them raise a hand or rise if you're able, and type the names of those individuals they're remembering in the chat room this evening. So if you're observing a yahrzeit or have lost an immediate family member during the past 30 days or a parent during the past 11 months, and allow me to read the following names, those relatives and members of our community who have passed during the past 30 days. Esther Markowitz Berman, Lucille Binderman, Susan Fleischer Breitberg, Francis Granoff, Vera Halpern, Harvey Peters, Ilse Salton, Jane Sherman, and Gail Trachtman. I've also been asked to read the names of Harold Garber, the father of Rich Garber, Samuel Goroff, the grandfather of Carol Klingon, Harry Eisenberg, the grandfather of Carol Klingon, Scott Miller, the son of Alan and Barbara Miller, and Stuart Sindel, the father of Marcy Sindel. We add all of those whose names are recorded in the chat box this evening as we ask the mourners in our midst to recite these words of Mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach ruteh v'yanlich malchuteh, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah m'varach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Gurshah B'reichu. Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'meran bi'ama v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we have our Passover service and Yizkor at 10 o'clock, followed by Torah study. We hope you can join us. I know that we also at 12:30 in the afternoon have a session with our sister congregation in Haifa, one of the true wonders of Zoom. We'll be joined by our friends in Haifa for Passover in America and Israel, a sharing between our two communities. I know Prayer Ground with Ryan is on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, Ryan? Excellent. I also know there are a few other announcements. Rabbis?
Go for it, Rabbi Sherman.
Okay, it's because it's important. I want to make sure that we note that Yom HaShoah begins on Wednesday evening, Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we'll gather as a community at 7 o'clock to mark that important and sacred a day of remembrance. And then this Sunday, a week from this Sunday, in the morning, we will have an opportunity to hear from a Holocaust survivor zooming in with us from Israel, Abraham Peter. So I hope that you'll mark Wednesday evening and Sunday morning as we mark this day this week.
Thank you. And I was going to add, in just a moment, we will count the Omer for this evening, which we are doing every night on Facebook. On Sunday nights, we will be gathering for a communal counting. This week's counting will be at 7 o'clock in the Zoom link that Emily will provide in the chat. So 7 o'clock this week instead of 7:30.
And before we count the Omer, while people are eating their Shabbos dinner, we have a special program tonight, Cantor Zell at 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock, if you have not heard enough Noah Aronson melodies tonight, and if you've been joining us this week for Noah's Holy Wanderer Passover program, we are joining together with a few other temple communities to bring in this Passover Shabbat. And I'm really excited. My cousin, who's going to be a cantor, will be singing with us tonight. And I will also be leading part of the prayer service. So we hope that you will join us at 8 p.m. The link is in the chat.
Awesome. We count the Omer during this period between Passover and Shavuot. So Rabbi Sapphire?
Yes, and I believe Rabbi Sherman will share the words on the screen so that we can join together. And the blessing, Cantor, thank you.
If you'd like, please join me. Special melody for counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom Shisha Yamim LaOmer. Today is 6 days of the Omer.
So the tradition is that each day we will count up to 50. And on that 50th day is the holiday of Shavuot, the giving of Torah. A reminder that the story doesn't end with freedom. That's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is meaning, the gift of Torah that the Israelites received in Sinai. So we look forward to the count and ultimately the celebration on Shavuot. Now let's raise our glasses high in the air. If we see you on camera with a glass, you may appear on Jumbotron. Cantor?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemasei v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת ביום טוב. I'm realizing we could have done our other melody.
Amen. Amen. And now, if you have a piece of matzah close by, no challah tonight, but matzah. Can we see a picture of someone holding matzah? I know Rabbi Sapphire has some. Oh, there's matzah. All right, let's say the blessing together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
All right, there you go. Take a big bite of matzah. Now we can open up the microphones and say Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Shalom, everyone.
Some of you soon. I want to bite him up. Jerry and Jerry.
There's so many people. Matzah for Egoist. Oh my gosh.
Shabbat Shalom, Oren Sapphire. Shabbat Shalom to the Shram family.
Shalom, Ryan.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye. Shabbat Shalom, Margie. Shabbat Shalom,
I'm trying to get it to go off. I'm trying to get the other.
Shabbat Shalom, Margie.
Shabbat
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom to Ed Gaskin.
Hey, Mary.
Put all that in.
Shalom, Terry.
Shabbat Shalom, Kathy Seltzer. Shabbat Shalom, Marilyn. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Ellen.